Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lucid Collective podcast. And we are here in the new year. It's official. I have been making episodes for exactly a year now. It feels pretty good to still be making episodes after a year, when probably even like a month before I started this podcast, I didn't see myself as someone who could ever do something like this. And I never do an intro like this, but it just feels right at the year mark. So if you don't want to listen to this, you can just skip along. But I just want to commemorate how far I've come because I started this podcast originally, yes, because I've gone so deep into this world and the mystery of dreaming in itself is just so compelling to me. But mostly I did it as a way to reclaim the confidence in my voice and push myself outside of my comfort zone and do something that I didn't even really know if I was capable of doing this in the first place. But I had gotten to a point in my life where I just felt like my voice didn't really matter and like there was no point for me to share my thoughts or my ideas with anyone, even on like a super basic level. I didn't see myself as someone who felt comfortable using their voice anymore in fear of others projecting their distaste or something getting lost in translation. Whatever it may be, mostly I was just in fear of judgment. So within the past few years, I've just had like a really hard time speaking up or sharing the truer parts of myself. But I can really see how far I've evolved since this time last year. Just in my anxiety levels alone around public speaking in itself, but also how I think about myself and the world around me and how those two relate to each other. And I also just want to thank you guys for listening along with me and bearing with the start of it all when I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I had to do it, whether it was going to be good or not. I just felt like I really needed to push myself outside of this bubble that I was keeping myself in, and it really did work. I kind of consider it to be like some sort of exposure therapy. And just for transparency's sake, I feel like I need to put this in here. I have a feeling that I won't be doing episodes as frequently as I have been before in this past year, just because it doesn't seem as important anymore. And oddly enough, after finding my voice, again, I don't really feel the subconscious need to be heard anymore. But I have seen this awesome little dreaming community form like right in front of my eyes. And as I've said before, I don't think I'll stop this podcast anytime soon. But I am not, and I never have been anything close to a content creator by any means. So don't expect like a scheduled release every month, not like I've ever done anything like that before. Um, I just kind of release stuff when I have something to say or if I've been like really focused on a super specific topic. But yeah, I only release things when I'm ready to share. So just be aware of that. Like, I've said that before. If I drop off the face of the planet for like 3 months at a time, don't be worried. Like, there will be another episode at some point, okay? So, with that being said, please, please, please check out the Lucid Sight Collective podcast on Instagram. And this is where like I post a bunch of details about episodes and you can get in contact with me. I love getting in contact with the dreamers who listen. And I love hearing your stories and your theories and whatever you may have to say to me. I am all ears. And I know I've said it a few episodes ago, but I will be doing a listener story episode soon. So if you want to be in it, definitely send me your stories soon because I'm going to be doing that at some point. And with that being said, this long intro is now over and we can get into the actual episode. But before we do that, I just need to stick with the full transparency here and say that before I said that I had no idea what I was doing when I first started the podcast, and that kind of made it sound like I have some sort of idea what I'm doing now. I don't. Nothing has changed. I am just way more confident and way less anxious now. So that's what I meant. I literally have not researched anything more about audio techniques. Still recording this on my voice memo app on my phone, sitting on my bed in my room. So yeah, full transparency there. Just so you guys know what you're dealing with. Okay, so actual episode now. Hello. This is a part 2 episode, so if you haven't, go listen to the last episode that I posted like about a month and a half ago. It was a while ago. But with that being said, I'm not gonna do like a full intro. You guys already got your intro. So if you want like some backstory on this episode and like why it's important, go listen to the first part of the last episode that I posted. But long story short, it's basically you can't remember your lucid dreams unless you're remembering your dreams in general. So if you want to have a lucid dream, or if you want to build your lucid dreaming practice, the first thing to do is to practice dream recall. In the last episode, we talked about how to prepare your body to remember your dreams and just like certain hacks that you can do to like naturally remember your dreams more often. This episode is going to be more mindset based. So we're going to talk about how your mindset can affect your dream recall and the little shifts and tweaks that you can make in your mind to remember your dreams way more often. So stick around. This one is really important, probably even more important than the last episode. Okay, this concept that I'm going to talk about is super important and probably like the tip that I can give to people who just straight up don't remember their dreams at all. For starters, a big reason why a large portion of people don't remember their dreams is because we don't really place emphasis or importance on them. As a society, collectively, we're not really placing much interest on dreams, so this naturally translates into your subconscious that your conscious mind doesn't need or want this information in waking life. So it locks it away inside the unconscious mind. So in reality, the first step to recalling your dreams is to start thinking about your dreams more and placing more importance on them, to show your brain that it is a priority for you to remember them. Believe it or not, this is a huge part of remembering our dreams. Your mind is an incredibly intelligent machine that works almost like an algorithm on like a social media platform. Whatever you shift your focus to, it will give you more of that. And if you starve something of attention, then it won't show itself to you until you've extended that interest again. Our brain tries to be as efficient as it can, and it won't bother keeping all that information and bringing it all the way from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind if we don't even care to use that information anyways. So the start is to really consciously be thinking about our dreams so that our subconscious knows, oh, our conscious mind does want this information. This is where dream journaling comes to play. If you do remember your dreams, by recording that dream, if you remember it, this signals to the subconscious mind, oh, this is actually stuff that the conscious mind wants to know, because they are writing it down and constantly recalling this information even long after I've had this dream. So that is the big factor in dream recall. The next thing I want to talk about is super important, and most people may think that it's pretty basic or self-explanatory, but I'm gonna go deeper into it, into kind of a concept that I feel like most people haven't even really heard. Um, and the thing that we're gonna talk about is dream journaling, which obviously everyone's heard of this, but just stick around because it is gonna get interesting. Dream journaling is just another layer in letting your subconscious know that the conscious mind does want that information. And like I said earlier, since we don't normally pay attention to our dreams, even when we do remember them, it teaches the brain that they aren't important to us. So it's safe for that information to be thrown out, leading you to then never remember your dreams. But the act of writing a dream down when you have remembered it directly signals to the brain that dreams are useful and something that we want to keep remembering instead of just useless information that we can immediately dump. Dream journaling is important because although most people think that it's an exercise to remember the dreams that you've already recalled, it actually isn't even about your dreams at all. And this is the really important part that most people don't realize. Dream journaling is actually a memory building practice. So, really, anything that happens during sleep can be put in your dream journal. If you were tossing and turning, if you woke up in the middle of the night, if you have thoughts, like if you have certain specific thoughts upon waking up, or if you're having like a feeling in your body or experiencing an emotion upon waking that you just keep like thinking about, or you keep thinking of someone, etc. Literally anything can be put in your dream journal because all you're really doing is training your brain to be conscious of what happens while you're sleeping. Even though this may not seem like it's doing much, it is training your brain to remember your future dreams and the thoughts that you formed while you were asleep. So, even if you aren't really at the point where you're fully remembering dreams or even like small scenes from them, it's still important to be dream journaling every morning, even if it's just with the simple fact that I didn't remember my dreams from last night. The formula that I usually like to start with, especially if like you're someone who has never really remembered a dream before, is initially starting with the intention to remember your dreams. And start by going to sleep every night with this intention. Know that even if you haven't done this before, even if you haven't remembered a dream ever, it is more than possible for your brain to learn how to do this. If you wake up every morning with that same intention that you will remember even just a little bit of the dream that you had last night, eventually it will happen. When you wake up, just keep your eyes closed, keep your body still for just a few minutes. Try to recall anything that you can, any emotions, any thoughts, any images. Then go to your journal, meditate a little bit longer. If you still can't think of anything, don't beat yourself up about it. If nothing comes, just write, I can't remember my dream today. And if you think you have the shape of something, just write it down, even if you're not really sure that came from a dream, just write it down. If it's a feeling like, I don't know, like I think I was at school, or I remember the color yellow, or I have an uneasy feeling upon waking. Um, Maybe like so and so was there, or etc. Just write whatever comes to mind. And on the flip side, it's equally as important if something comes up throughout the day, even if it's just like a tidbit, to write it down as well. Um, I am like constantly remembering parts of my dreams throughout the day because when you do certain things, if they trigger the same part of your brain that was used when forming that dream, then it will trigger dreams that you've had that like had completely gone from your mind that you would never remember. before, but it's important to write them down. Even if it doesn't seem important, it is a part of the dream journaling practice. And especially if you are one of those people that just can never ever seem to remember a dream, it is important to kind of like religiously be doing this because it is training your mind, and to change and like rewire the brain, it does require repetitive work. So just it may take a while depending on the unique individual. It can take anywhere from like a few days to a few years depending on the person, but once you're remembering dreams fairly frequently, then you can kind of wean off of this obsessive type of dream journaling. But if you do truly want to train your brain, then you should be journaling every single morning and reading the entry from that morning every single night before you go to sleep, regardless of whether or not you are remembering your dreams or had remembered dreams from last night. This dream journaling practice is just really important to train your brain. I don't necessarily do it this religiously anymore because I do remember my dreams fairly frequently. So I only write a dream down if I have a dream to write down. But if my recall started to fade, then I would go back to this technique of journaling every single morning, reading it every single night, regardless of what I was writing down. Going back to people who are like very new to remembering their dreams, a good exercise for you to do every night is get out your journal and write continuously, like, I will remember my dreams tonight, or I have amazing dream recall, or whatever it may be. And every single time you're writing it, with every cell in your body, as much as you can, try to really feel what it would feel like if you actually believed that, and feel that feeling that you do believe what you're writing. If it's a phrase that you just flat out don't believe, don't continue to write it a million times, because it will just reinforce the fact that you don't believe this idea. This is a big reason why affirmations don't work for most people, is because they don't believe what they're saying, so they just reinforce the fact that they don't believe this, and the feeling that they get when they think that they don't believe what they're saying and they don't believe what they want to be, that they don't believe they can be what they want to be, whatever, you get what I'm saying. But as you're writing this down, I will remember my dreams tonight. Try to really believe it and feel that feeling. If you can't believe it, feel the feeling of what it would feel like if that was something you did believe about yourself, and embody that as you're writing it. Write it over and over again. Get into like a subconscious state to where it's basically your subconscious writing it. Just keep on doing that every single night, for like a month. I don't know how long it takes for some people, but this is a good exercise to do for people who just can't seem to remember any of their dreams. And it's also just a good signal to your subconscious in the first place that you do want to remember these dreams. Like, you're constantly drilling this. I will remember my dreams. Dreams are important. Like, I am amazing at dream recall. Like, oh yeah, also another tip. I wasn't even going to put this on here because I totally forgot, but if you believe that dream recall is easy for you, it will be. It's all about these subconscious beliefs that we have, and like literally what your unconscious believes. Or your conscious, like if your conscious believes that you can't remember your dreams, then you're not gonna fucking remember any of your dreams. But if you truly believe that it's super easy for you to remember your dreams, then it will be. You'll constantly be remembering your dreams. And for most people, like if they cannot ever remember their dreams, it's really hard for them to believe that it is really easy to remember your dreams, which it is. It really can be. But a lot of people don't believe it is, so it isn't. If that makes sense. The whole theme of this episode, I guess, is just confusing shit. But, we're here for it. And this is kind of going in a different direction, but when talking about the dreams that we remember, it's also important to note that dreams that we have, they have a deep emotional impact on people and can vividly stick with that individual for their entire lives. And this is any kind of emotional impact. Like it can be a super, super cool dream, a beautifully profound dream, or a terrifying dream. It can be a dream that made you feel really weird or uncomfortable, or literally anything that had a deep impact on you in any way. It can stick with you and in your psyche for a long time, and the details and imagery of dreams can stick to us in a good way or a bad way. So it's important to know how to deal with this emotional vulnerability of our headspaces when dealing with dreams, because I'm sure you guys know that the dream world can be a very confusing and scary place sometimes. But the way that you react when you wake up, it can determine whether or not this dream stays with you or fades away into the background. You can consciously choose to solidify a dream in your mind or let it fade into the background. And if it's a dream that you don't necessarily want to remember, then definitely don't write it down. Don't relive and don't describe your dream to anyone else if you don't have to. But the most important thing to do is to not give it power. If it gets brought up in your mind, remember it and then move on to the next thought. Don't dwell on it. But also, don't dwell on not dwelling on it if not dwelling on it isn't exactly working for you, if that makes any sense at all. But if you can't stop thinking about it, that's pretty normal. Like it probably feels like you really experienced this, which you did and you didn't, but mostly you didn't. And you're here now, and the memory will fade in time if you let it. You still might have that memory that you had the dream, but the vividity of the imagery and the emotion behind it, it will fade. On the other hand, sorry, I hope that made some sort of sense, but on the other hand, when you recount a dream to a friend or like a family member, this deepens the neural network pattern of that dream plot and its imagery. And also, the big one to solidifying your remembered dreams is writing them down in some kind of dream journal. It can be digital or physical, like I said before. But if it's digital, just have it backed up. Don't be like me and lose 3 years of your dreams. Pain. But dream journals are important because memory is not reliable. So yeah, just that if you want to solidify a dream, write it down. You can literally reread it anytime and the same exact imagery and vividity gets brought up in your head. But like I said, memory isn't reliable. So I don't know if you guys have heard of that study. I can't remember who did it, but it says that every time that we bring up something in our memory, it changes it just a little bit. So it's important that you have your unoriginal, unchanged thoughts about the dream. This is also good if you are prone to having like premonition dreams. Just keep a habit of writing your dreams down because no one is gonna fucking believe you. And they still probably won't, even if you have it written down. But that's just the world we live in. So yeah, moving on to the next topic. I totally wasn't going to add this in, but it's actually really important. And I don't necessarily think of it when I think of dream recall, but a practice that I work on is just generally being more present with my running thoughts kind of going on in the background all the time that most people don't really listen to or notice. But it's just like our thoughts flowing on a subconscious level. Like that is your subconscious mind. And when you tune into this and pinpoint a thought, what I do is I try to trace it back and remember how I got there in my mind. So if I'm not paying attention to those like constant running thoughts, and then all of a sudden I remember and I'm like, oh, what am I thinking about? I tune into that thought and then I'm like, how did I even get on this subject? Like, what led me up to this point? So I start retracing my steps and try to like rewind my thought process. And this is also like a memory memory building exercise. And it even helped me with lucid dreaming actually, because when you're lucid dreaming, one of my tells how I become lucid in a dream is like I'll stop and realize like, oh wait, like I'm driving in a car right now and how did I get here and like where am I going? Like what am I even doing right now? And I just like try to think about what's actually happening and retrace my steps throughout the day. And if I can't remember like when I woke up or if I ate breakfast or like how I left the house or like what state I'm even in, then I'll know that like, okay, I'm in a dream and it's just like skipping these big blocks of time. And that's why I can't remember anything. But instead, I kind of flip this idea and I practice it while I'm awake. So first of all, like I will do that. And like if I'm driving somewhere, I think like, where am I going? Or like, how did I get here? What led me up to this place? Like, and what I'm doing right now. And that is also a memory building exercise because, like, I mean, think about it. Most people these days can't even remember what they had for breakfast in that given day. So, this is just like a good memory building exercise in general, but it also really helps translate into the dream world. And when you pay attention to this like constant flowing of like our subconscious mind in the background, um, just try to tune in to those thoughts, pinpoint them, and then trace it back to like how you got to that thought and like what led you there. I've found this exercise to be really, really great for dream recall. I've never heard of anyone doing it really, but it just makes sense to me and it has really helped like develop that memory building and also like the conscious subconscious interaction. So, yeah, definitely try this out. Yeah, I hope it helps you guys cuz this definitely helped me like really start to remember my dreams. Okay, for the last part of this, we're going to kind of shift gears again. And I'm just going to tell you a little hack that I use to easily remember my dreams like pretty much every day. And I can't remember if I put this in the last episode or not, but I'm just going to throw it in here super quick. And that is that getting into like a trance like or like disassociative, almost like meditative like state shortly after waking, this can also help bring you back into a state where a dream can resurface. And I know I've said it before on like another episode, and that is usually I'll remember a dream that I had from the night before while I'm taking a shower in the morning after waking up. And I think that this is because your mind has the ability to freely roam, for one. Like, you're not really thinking about anything. You're just like, I don't know, it's just like soap and water, whatever. And also, it's kind of putting you into a state that is similar to sleep. Especially with like that white noise and like the warmth. I don't know what it is, but something about a shower can make me remember my dreams like no other. But as my mind will like drift off, it can take me back to my dream I was having a few hours ago, and it seems to just naturally happen. Like my mind naturally does that. But you can also be intentional about it too. And when you go into the shower, just have that intention that you're going to bring that dream up, and it's going to be even easier for you to do that. This has really helped me also in like my busy life and like with my work schedule. Waking up with an alarm clock a lot of the times isn't great for remembering dreams. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. It just depends on when it wakes you up in your sleep cycle. But it's really great for busy days if you have to just get right up out of bed upon waking. This little I call it my like shower ceremony. I don't know. It's like, it's just a really good habit to practice if you do want to incorporate that dream recall into your morning, or dream recall practice into your morning routine. This is a great way to do it if you're super busy. But again, the best way to remember a dream is to just stay still and keep your eyes closed upon waking, because right when you open your eyes and move your muscles, like it resets the body basically. So I talk about that in the last episode, and that is like a really important factor in the brain and dream recall. So definitely listen to the last episode for sure. But yeah, I think that's it for this episode, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said in the beginning, definitely don't think I'm going to be doing episodes as often, but I'm still going to be doing this. So don't worry, it's just going to be like a little bit less frequent. But you can still message me on lucid.site.co or Lucid Site Podcast on Instagram. I am here for you and all your dreaming needs. If you have any questions, if you want to share stories or theories or ideas, experiences, I am 100% down to hear your thoughts. Yeah, please message me. As I always say, I love the community. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you next time.